Good evening, everyone. Well, it's another interesting day. I was sitting here looking at the Epstein list and the names that come across it, man, they'll blow you away. Before I do that, let me just remind you this is the Hillbilly Think Tank, Spencer Keck, coming at you from Hardin County, Kentucky, Tunnel Hills, here in District 3, where I'm running for magistrate. And want to give a shout out to my grandsons, Aiden, Abner, and let's give Aaron a big old shout out. Boys, hope you're having a good night. Now, back to business. Thinking about that Epstein list, it just amazes me. There's one name there that just sticks out to me like a big old sore thumb. And I can't believe no one is reporting on this. No one's making this a big deal like it should be. What name did we hear from 1994 to 1998 constantly in the news? Who was it that was in charge of prosecuting a president for impeachment? Spent billions of dollars investigating a president for getting fellatio in the White House, consensual fellatio, regardless of how inappropriate it was, and it was inappropriate. You know, abusing his position like he did Bill Clinton, that was just absolutely an abuse of power. But who was it that spent so much time, couldn't burn Clinton on the Whitewater affair, so he moved on to fellatio in the White House, all right? Because there was nothing in the Whitewater deal. He couldn't burn him on it, couldn't burn Hillary on it. So they decided to take Bill Clinton down for fellatio in the White House of an intern. And again, that was an abuse of his power. I'm not going to act like it wasn't. But what amazes me is that the person who did that prosecution and investigation, who went from Whitewater in Arkansas, couldn't find anything there, so then went to talking about what the president was doing with an intern. That was Kenneth Starr. Kenneth Starr, Ken Starr. He was the one who spent billions of taxpayers' dollars, and all he could do was talk about how this fellatio in the White House was criminal activity and was so horrific that it had to be something that Congress saw fit to send Bill Clinton into prosecution for and impeachment for. And Bill Clinton was impeached for fellatio in the White House. Now, why am I bringing this up? It's old news, right? We beat it into the ground in 1998. It's all we heard about in the news from 1994 to 1998 was this deal. Kenneth Starr was on our nightly news, spending taxpayers' dollars to get to the bottom of this affair. Now, why am I mentioning this? Well, it's because Kenneth Starr is on the Epstein list. Kenneth Starr visited Epstein Island multiple times. Kenneth Starr decided that he was going to defend Jeffrey Epstein, and he did so. He went on a scorched earth campaign, according to Perversion of Justice, which was an expose written by Julie K. Brown. And she says his scorched earth campaign leveraged his connections with President George W. Bush to influence the Justice Department on behalf of Jeffrey Epstein. So Epstein ended up going down with a plea deal, which allowed Epstein to plead guilty to 2 state prostitution charges, serve a 13-month sentence in a private wing of a county jail with work release privileges that allowed him 6 days a week for 12 hours a day, and he had to register as a sex offender. Well, he got off with that, right? He continually communicated with Kenneth Starr and exchanged scores of messages between 2010 and 2018, where they gossiped about politics and making plans to meet. Of course, they had met through the early 2000s all the way up to 2010 on multiple occasions, because Starr went down to Epstein Island. He's on that long list of folks who spent time in Epstein Island. And they corresponded in emails constantly. They would end their emails with hugs or love. In 2017, Epstein looked for Ken Starr's advice about sexual misconduct allegations that were being leveraged again against Epstein and also against another individual, Peter Krause. So Starr was advising Epstein and telling him how to handle that situation. So, it's just ironic to me. It's worse than ironic how aggressively Starr pursued Clinton over consensual affair and lying under oath while he worked to get a lenient deal for this child sex trafficker, Epstein. He also Kenneth Starr served as president of Baylor for many, many, many years until he was removed as president of Baylor University in 2016 after an investigation revealed that the institution, that's Baylor University, had fundamentally failed to respond adequately to multiple student sexual assault allegations while under his leadership. So students were being sexually assaulted, and Ken Starr did nothing about it year after year after year. This is after the whole Bill Clinton investigation that he ran from 94 to 98. So when Trump was impeached, Starr returned to public view again, 2018, to defend Donald Trump. Isn't that interesting? After running us Americans through the mill, and running down this consensual affair, regardless of how inappropriate it was consensual. 2020, he was a member of President Donald Trump's legal team for his first Senate impeachment trial. How, not just ironic, but how hypocritical is this? Actual sexual assault allegations were made while under his tenure as president at Baylor University, and this guy does nothing for years and years and years while he's the president there. But for 4 years, American tax dollars were wasted on an investigation of consensual sexual activity in the White House, regardless of how inappropriate that was of President Bill Clinton. This man then turns around after ignoring sexual allegations of sexual assault at Baylor University while he's president of that university. He defends Jeffrey Epstein during this period also. And Jeffrey Epstein is a child sex trafficker. And this guy, Kenneth Starr, goes down to Epstein Island. He's on that list of folks who went down there. America, what's going on? Why is it okay if you've got a D beside your name for folks to waste billions of dollars when there's consensual sex going on? But when you have an R beside your name, if you're caught doing anything that involves sexual activity with a kid, we give it a pass and we say it's okay. As Megyn Kelly just said recently, oh, these were teenagers, not kids. They were 15 and above. They looked like they were adults. What the living fuck? Really? This is the line in the sand that we have drawn? We give a pass when adults are engaging in nefarious activities with folks under the age of 19? We think that's A-okay? No. This cannot be. Doesn't matter whether you got a D beside your name or an R beside your name. No one should get a pass. No one. No one at all. It should be clear that this is not okay. But it's not clear because we have seen so much obfuscation, so much running to make any excuse we can for billionaires and politicians that engage in this activity. And we're trying to act like Jeffrey Epstein Island was just a place where one man did this stuff. And we have people now trying to make excuses for him in order to not have to later make excuses for these politicians, many and most of whom have R besides their name. That's taken, not including the international folks that we know, such as Prince Andrew of England. He's not now Prince Andrew because of this. England knows that it was true. England knows what went on in Epstein Island. They know whose names are truly on the list. So no matter how much redaction, meaning how many names are erased from this Epstein report, by the time it comes out, they'll have taken off all the names of the American billionaires, millionaires, politicians, and celebrities. But the truth will come out because it's not only the United States intelligence agencies and investigative agencies that have this information. It's MI6, it's KGB, it's other groups that tracked and used Epstein for years and have the dirt on politicians that they now have in their back pocket because of Epstein and Epstein Island. But again, why on earth were we put through the mill 1994 to 1998 by Kenneth Starr, and then Kenneth Starr turns out to be a person who, if you have an R by your name, he will do anything he can to make sure you don't get prosecuted or go to jail if you have an R by your name. You can do all the sexual assaults or all of the pedophile activity you want to, as long as you're not a Democrat. Something's wrong. Very, very wrong. We've got to get back to, doesn't matter what your politics are, if you are involved in sexual assaults or you're involved in mistreating kids, you go down. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of the weekend. Have a great night. God bless Kentucky. God bless America. Remember, we are our brothers and sisters' keepers, and we love our neighbors ourselves. God bless your corazon. Have a great one.